Hello, my dear friends. I am Dr. Wasim I Khan, Assistant Professor, Shri Shivaji Law College, Parbhani, Maharashtra, India. So, in today's lecture, we will discuss the essentials of vicarious liability, and we will also discuss the examples and case laws relating to this particular topic. So, let's start the topic. Essentials of vicarious liability we will discuss in this lecture. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the basis and introduction of vicarious liability. In this particular lecture, we will discuss essentials of vicarious liability. If the plaintiff wants to get a compensation for the tort committed by the servant, if he wants to file a suit against the master for the tort committed by his servant, he must prove the essential, which we will discuss in today's lecture. So introduction we have already discussed, but generally a man is liable for the wrong committed by him. I will be held responsible if I committed a tort. I will not be held responsible for the tort of any other person. That is the general rule. But there are certain circumstances in which one person is liable for the tort committed by another. So what are those circumstances we will discuss in today's lecture. So first of all, the principal and agent relationship is there. Sometimes for the tort of agent, principal is liable. And why principal is liable for the tort of agent? Who is the principal? Principal is one who employs another to act for him subject to his general control and instruction. If one person appoint another for the work principal agent is the first relationship in which if the tort is committed by agent, principal will be held responsible for that. Principal is one who employs another to act for him subject to his general control and instruction. Suppose if I appoint any person to act for me, it means he is an agent of mine. He is substitute of mine and he is doing my act. He is doing that act for the benefit of mine only, and that's why he is an agent. I am the principal. The agent is the substitute or representative of the principal and derives its authority from him. An agent is supposed to be known as a substitute of principal, representative of a principal, and the agent is derives authority from the principal. So agent is doing act for principal, agent is supposed to be a substitute of principal, he is supposed to be a representative of the principal. Second relationship, that is a master and servant. Sometimes for the tort of servant, master will be held responsible in vicarious liability. Master means master, one who employs another subject to certain terms and conditions to work under his lawful order and supervision. Suppose if I appoint someone to work for me under my lawful order and supervision, then he is supposed to be a servant of mine. I appoint a servant. If he is doing an act as per my direction and under my control, under my supervision, then he is a servant and I am the master. So I appoint someone to act for me under my supervision, under my lawful order, then I am a master. And servant, a servant is any person who works for another for a salary in the eye of the law. And who is servant? Servant is a person who works for another for the salary. He is working for another, and in returns of that work, he is getting salary, and that's why he is a servant. Depending upon the control of master, he is said to be servant. So, depending upon the control, the person is supposed to be known as a servant. Sometimes the servant is doing according to the direction given by the master, what is to be done and how it shall be done. What is to be done and how it shall be done. Regarding that, whether the person is servant or not, it will be decided. Now we will move towards the essentials. Liability of the master. The master's liability arises when the following two essentials are present. If we want to hold liable any master, we must prove the two essential which we will discuss now. The first one is tort must be committed by his servant. Whatever servant does, he does for the benefit of the master. Servant is always doing for the benefit of master. According to the direction given by the master, the servant is doing his act. And that's why whenever the servant commits a tort while doing the master's act, master will be held responsible for that. So the first essential which need to be proved by the plaintiff, that is, tort must be committed by his servant. But there is a difference between servant and independent contractor. There is a basic difference between servant and independent contractor. Servant is doing the act according to the direction and under the control of master, but independent contractor is independent and he is liable for the results only. He is not working under the control and direction of the master. So this is the basic difference between servant and independent contractor. So the first essential for the liability of master is tort must be committed by his servant. Suppose if you want to file a suit against me, so you have to prove that whatever the tort is committed, that is committed by my servant only. Second essential is tort must be committed in course of employment. So according to Winfield, a tort falls within the course of employment under the following circumstances. When I will be held responsible being a master, if my servant commits a tort in course of employment. In course of employment means duty hours, whatever it may be the duty hours. Suppose morning 8 to noon to 2, afternoon 2. This is the working hours of my servant. If servant does any wrongful act during that particular working hours, then only I will be held responsible, and then only it will be treated as the tort is committed in course of employment. Until and unless tort is committed in course of employment, master will not be held responsible. So there are two circumstances in which we can say that the tort is committed in course of employment. The first one is authorized act and their natural consequences. Sometimes the master authorized a servant to do a certain act and the servant is doing accordingly. Even then, if a tort is committed, master will be held responsible because the servant is doing authorized act, and whatever it may be the natural consequences of that authorized act, master will be held responsible for that. It is explained in the one case, Gregory versus Piper. In this case, master directed a servant to put a heap of rubbish in the way of plaintiff, and specifically the master has given instruction to the servant that in order to putting the heap of rubbish, he must keep one thing in his mind, that that heap of rubbish should not touch the wall of the plaintiff, and servant does accordingly. But due to the wind, the heap of rubbish touched the wall of the plaintiff, and plaintiff filed a suit against the master, and court held liable to the master. Why? Because the servant did the act which was authorized one, and that was the natural consequences of his act. That's why master was held liable in this case, authorized act and their natural consequences. Second example is that unauthorized modes of doing authorized act. Sometimes the act itself is authorized one, but the servant chose to commit that particular act in unauthorized manner. The manner of committing that particular authorized act is unauthorized one. Unauthorized modes of doing authorized act, even then the master will be held responsible. When the servant performs the work entrusted by unauthorized modes, still the master is liable. Work itself is authorized, but the mode which is applied by the servant is unauthorized. Even then, master will be held responsible for the tort of servant. Following instances come under unauthorized modes of doing authorized act. One by one we will discuss. The first one is carelessness of servant. If the servant acts carelessly in performing the work and commits a tort, thereby the master is liable. Suppose if the master authorized a servant to do a certain act and servant does that act carelessly, even then master will be held responsible for that. There is a one case, Ganga Sugar Corporation Limited versus Sukhbir Singh. In this case, the defendant appointed a servant for driving a jeep, and the defendant's servant parked a jeep on a public place and left the ignition key in the jeep itself. One person drove that jeep negligently and the accident took place. The suit has been filed against the defendant for the tort of his servant. Now it is the carelessness of servant. servant left the key on ignition itself, and that's why the accident took place. But he was authorized to drive a vehicle, and while driving he did that act carelessly, and that's why court held liable to the defendant in this case for carelessness of servant. In this case, the servant was careless. Even then, the master was held responsible because it comes under the category of unauthorized modes of doing authorized act. Next one is mistake of servant. If the servant commits a tort by mistake, the master is liable. If the servant is doing authorized act and while doing that act, by mistake he commits any tort, master will be held responsible. It must be shown that the servant intended to do on behalf of his master something which he was authorized to do. So it is to be proved while deciding the liability of the master that the servant was doing the authorized act of the master. Secondly, it has to be proved that an act, if done in proper manner, would have been lawful. So it is to be proved that if that particular act is done in a lawful manner, it would have been a lawful. And due to the mistake, though this act is unlawful, but the master will be held responsible for that. There is a case, Bailey versus Manchester Railway Company. In this case, the defendant servant was there, and the duty of the servant was, he was a railway porter, and it was the duty to check whether the passenger is boarding in the correct train or not. So under a mistaken belief, under a mistaken impression, the servant pulled one passenger, and it was the misconception, it was the mistaken impression of that particular servant that the plaintiff was boarded in a wrong train. And in that particular process, when the servant pulled that plaintiff sustained an injury, and the suit has been filed against the railway company because he was the servant of railway company. So railway company was held liable in this particular case because the servant was doing authorized act, though he has applied a mode which is unauthorized one, but he was doing the authorized act, and that's why the master was held liable for the mistake of servant in this case. Next one is willful wrong of the servant. Sometimes master gives a certain instruction to the servant to be observed while performing the work. Sometimes master specifically has given a instruction to the servant, you have to do this work in this particular manner. You have to observe this thing while doing your act. And if the servant willfully disobeys such instruction and commits a tort, then also master will be held responsible. In this particular case, Limpus versus London General Omnibus Company. In this case, the defendant company instructed their servant not to race with or overtake or obstruct other omnibus. It was the specific instruction given by the omnibus company to their servant not to race with other omnibus, not to overtake, not to create obstruction to the other omnibus. It was the specific direction given to their employees. Contrary to such instruction, the defendant servant drove across the road to obstruct plaintiff bus and commit an accident. So in this particular case, the defendant servant willfully disobeys the instruction and drove his bus across the plaintiff's bus, and the accident took place. Plaintiff sustained a loss. Plaintiff filed a suit against the omnibus company for the willful wrong of his servant. Court held liable to the company for the willful wrong of the servant because the act itself was the authorized one, but the mode was unauthorized. So in this case also the defendant was held liable. Next one is fraud of servant. A master is liable for the wrongful act of his servant done fraudulently. So if the master appoint a servant to do any act in an honest full manner, in a lawful manner, and if the servant does that act fraudulently, even then master will be held responsible for that. Lloyd versus Grace Smith and Company. In this particular case, the defendant were a firm of solicitors. The plaintiff Lloyd, a widow, owned 2 cottages. In this particular case, the defendant were a firm of solicitors, and one person in that particular firm, one of the client was a widow, and she owns 2 cottages. She came to the solicitor firm for advice, and while giving the advice, the servant of that particular solicitor's firm advised to sell out that particular 2 cottages, and accordingly that particular lady did. But later on it comes to know that that was not the sale deed, but it was a gift deed. So it is a fraud. And who committed the fraud? Servant of solicitor's firm commits a tort, but master was held liable. That Grace Smith and company was held liable for the fraud of his servant, because the act itself is authorized one, but the mode of doing that act was unauthorized. So for the fraud of servant also, the master will be held responsible. Next one is negligent delegation of authority. The expression delegation of authority literally means transfer of power or entrusting of work to another. Suppose if I am having a duty to do certain act and I am transferring that particular duty to someone else, it means I am delegating my authority to someone else. Suppose if I have appointed my servant to do a certain act, and if he negligently delegated that authority to someone else, and that particular person to whom the authority is delegated commits any tort, I will be held responsible being a master, because my servant delegate authority while doing my act. The act itself is authorized one, but the mode was unauthorized. So sometimes the servant may negligently delegate his authority to another. In this particular case, Bihari Lal versus Surinder Singh. The driver of the lorry handed over steering wheel to the cleaner who drove negligently and commit an accident. So in this particular case, the defendant appointed a servant to drive a vehicle, but the driver negligently delegate authority to cleaner, handed over the steering wheel to the cleaner, and while driving, the cleaner commits an accident and the plaintiff sustained a loss. Plaintiff filed a suit against the master, and in this case also the master was held liable. Why? Because this is a case of negligent delegation of authority by servant. Even if the servant delegates his authority negligently, master will be held responsible for that. Next one is theft by servant. Earlier not liable, but now liable. In this particular case, for the theft of servant also, master will be held responsible. Morris versus C.W. Martin and Sons Limited. The defendant were the bailey of fur coat given to them by plaintiff for cleaning. So in this particular case, the defendant were the bailey of fur coat. One client has came to the defendant's company, that is C.W. Martin and Sons Limited, for dry cleaning his fur coat, and that fur coat was very much attractive, and that's why the servant of that particular company taken away that fur coat. It means he has committed the theft, and the suit has been filed against the C.W. Martin and Sons Limited, and the court held liable to the defendant. Why? Because it is a theft of servant. Because act itself is authorized one, but the mode which was being used by the servant is unauthorized. So unauthorized modes of doing authorized act also comes under the category of vicarious liability. So in this case also the master was held responsible. So these are the two essential. First essential is tort must be committed by servant. Second one is tort must be committed in course of employment, and in course of employment means authorized act and their natural consequences and unauthorized modes of doing authorized act. We have discussed all the examples. I hope you understand this topic. If you understand this topic, please subscribe my channel, hit the notification button, hit the like button, and share this video with your friends. Thank you very much.